early hours of a cold November morning, southern Ontario and Quebec were thrust into a deep freeze that few saw coming. What began as a light snowfall quickly evolved into a full-blown winter event, winds howling up to 45 miles per hour, visibility near zero, and temperatures plummeting below 20 degrees 5. Across Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal, traffic lights vanished behind walls of snow, while flights were grounded and highways shut down. The first major snowstorm of the season didn't just bring inconvenience, it brought paralysis. Within hours, over 120 traffic collisions were reported, thousands lost power, and airports struggled to keep runways clear. It was an early and brutal reminder that winter in Canada doesn't wait for the calendar to catch up. This is the story of a storm that turned cities silent, a night when snow ruled the streets, and the country braced for its first true test of winter. By mid-morning, the snowstorm had transformed southern Ontario into a whiteout zone. Visibility dropped to near zero, and drivers on Highway 401 and 417 described scenes of pure chaos, cars sliding sideways, trucks jackknifing, and headlights vanishing into blinding sheets of snow. Police radio channels lit up with non-stop emergency calls. One officer in Ottawa said, "It's like driving through a snow tunnel. You can't see 10 feet ahead." The storm strengthened as Arctic air collided with warm lake moisture, creating intense, lake-effect snow bands that park themselves over entire towns for hours. In parts of Ottawa and Kingston, more than 8 inches of snow fell in less than half a day, while strong winds whipped it into towering drifts that buried sidewalks and doorways. Transit systems froze in place. Buses crawled at walking speed, and major rail lines reported delays. Flights in Toronto Pearson and Montreal Trudeau were cancelled by the dozens as de-icing crews fought to keep up. The early winter blast brought life in Canada's most populated corridor to a grinding halt. For millions, it was a shock to the system, a reminder that the first snow can be the most dangerous and the most humbling. What should have been a normal Sunday commute turned into a scene of frozen mayhem. By afternoon, police had responded to over 120 collisions across eastern Ontario alone. Cars slid into ditches, pickup trucks spun out on black ice, and semis blocked entire stretches of highway. The Ontario Provincial Police issued urgent warnings, pleading with drivers to stay home. On Highway 417, a chain reaction crash involving multiple vehicles forced temporary closures. Drivers who tried to inch forward found themselves trapped behind walls of snow as visibility dropped to zero. "It's like driving blind," one motorist said, after being rescued from his stranded car. "You can't tell where the road ends or where the ditch begins." Snowplows worked tirelessly, but the snowfall rate nearly 2 inches per hour made progress almost impossible. Even in cities like Toronto and Ottawa, where winter crews are among the most prepared in North America, the storm moved faster than anyone expected. As temperatures fell below 20 degrees, the snow turned heavy and wet, freezing instantly to windshields and power lines. For every driver who made it home safely, there were dozens who didn't. The first storm of the season had claimed its grip, and Ontario's roads became its battlefield.
Well, there's the snowfall. Look at it. Look at how bad.
Meteorologists called it a textbook lake effect event. But what unfolded over Ontario was anything but ordinary. A powerful Arctic cold front swept across the Great Lakes, colliding with warm, moisture-rich air still lingering from early autumn. That combination, cold above warm below, created the perfect setup for explosive snowfall. As the frigid air crossed Lake Ontario and Lake Erie, it picked up heat and moisture, forming narrow snow bands that dumped incredible amounts of snow in concentrated zones. In one neighborhood, 10 inches fell in a few hours, while just a few miles away, barely an inch coated the ground. That's the erratic, unpredictable nature of lake-effect snow, localized intense, and nearly impossible to forecast perfectly. Scientists also pointed to a deeper factor: climate volatility. Warmer lakes due to rising global temperatures mean more moisture in the air and heavier, wetter snow when Arctic blasts arrive. It's not more storms, experts say, but stronger, sharper contrasts that make each event more extreme. In this case, those ingredients aligned perfectly. The result wasn't just an early taste of winter, it was a warning shot. As the climate continues to warm, even Canada's most seasoned snowfighters may find themselves battling storms that feel less like routine and more like reckoning. As night fell, Ontario's major cities looked more like Arctic outposts than bustling urban centers. Power lines sagged under the weight of ice, and entire neighborhoods flickered in and out of darkness. Emergency shelters opened across Toronto, Ottawa, and Hamilton, offering warmth to hundreds left without heat. For many, survival meant improvisation. Families huddled around gas stoves and fireplaces. In downtown Ottawa, volunteers braved near-zero visibility to deliver blankets and food to those stranded on the streets. "It's bitter out here," one said, snow crusted on his jacket. "You can't last long without help." Snowplows worked around the clock, their flashing amber lights cutting through the blizzard as crews cleared priority routes. Still side streets remained impassable, cars buried under 2 feet of snow, doors frozen shut. Rural communities reported being completely isolated as drifts grew taller than fences. By midnight, the storm's reach extended into Quebec and northern New York, spreading its icy grip beyond Canada's borders. Inside homes, people listened to the wind roar like an endless train, waiting for the calm that always comes after the storm. But for now, Ontario was under siege, a province locked in the unrelenting grip of an early and unforgiving winter.
First snow بكندا. بلشت الشتوية.
As darkness fell, the storm's fury only intensified. Streets that were once busy with headlights and traffic now stood silent, buried under snowdrifts taller than mailboxes. The hum of city life vanished, replaced by the howl of 45 Memphis winds whipping between frozen buildings. In Ottawa, residents huddled by candlelight as power outages spread through neighborhoods. Across Toronto, emergency shelters opened their doors to hundreds seeking warmth, while local volunteers trudged through knee-deep snow to deliver blankets and hot drinks. "It's the first storm, and it's already this bad," one exhausted paramedic said. People weren't ready. No one ever is. Rural towns faced even greater isolation. Roads vanished beneath layers of snow, and rescue crews relied on snowmobiles to reach stranded families. In Kingston, Snowdrifts blocked homes entirely, forcing residents to dig tunnels just to step outside. By midnight, the entire province felt the weight of winter's return. From flickering power lines to silent highways, Ontario had been swallowed by a white curtain of ice and wind. For millions, survival meant patience, waiting out the long, frozen night, and hoping that by sunrise the storm would finally let go. But outside, the snow kept falling, relentless and unforgiving. By Monday morning, Ontario began the long process of recovery. Hundreds of snowplows and salt trucks rolled out before dawn, their orange lights flickering across the snow-covered streets. City workers cleared main arteries, first highways 401, 417, and 174, before turning to side streets, where cars sat buried under mounds of frozen slush. Emergency crews remained on high alert. The Ontario Provincial Police urged drivers to stay off the roads, while hydro teams fanned out to restore power to more than 40,000 households left in the dark. Airports slowly reopened, though delays stretched through the afternoon as aircraft lined up for de-icing. Local communities stepped up in extraordinary ways. Neighbors used snowblowers to clear driveways for the elderly, and volunteers delivered food to families unable to leave their homes. Schools across Toronto and Ottawa remained closed, giving families a rare snow day to dig out together. Officials praised the teamwork and resilience on display, calling it the real strength of Canada. Across social media, videos of residents shoveling side by side went viral, a testament to how adversity often unites. As the sun finally broke through the clouds, the province exhaled. Ontario had endured its first battle with winter and won one shovel at a time. When calm finally returned to Ontario, the province looked like a postcard, glittering white, silent, and still. But beneath the beauty lay the lessons of a storm that had tested every layer of preparedness and patience. This first blast of winter wasn't just about snow. It was about how people respond when routine vanishes overnight. For meteorologists, it was a preview of what's to come: stronger storms, sharper temperature swings, and more unpredictable winters. For families, it was a reminder to plan ahead. Full gas tanks, charged phones, and a sturdy snow shovel are no longer optional. And for first responders, it reaffirmed their essential role as the invisible force holding communities together when the world goes white. The storm may have passed, but its echo lingers in the scraped driveways, the shared cups of coffee, and the quiet gratitude of neighbors helping neighbors. Winter once again reminded Canada of both its power and its heart. And, as the snow melts and the skies clear, one message remains: resilience is the real warmth that gets us through the cold. Like, share, and subscribe for more stories of weather, humanity, and survival.